Okay, I would like to welcome Amit Dodani. He's going to be speaking to you guys about, maybe some experiences that you guys, or questions that you might have going into middle school. And I thought it would be great for him to come in and speak to you guys because from his experiences of being in the 5th grade and now currently attending Chaminade, he's a sophomore, correct? He's a sophomore at Chaminade. But his story is a little different, and what I say different is because today's youth, and that means, you guys are a youth, and young adults don't really get into or don't feel like they are part of the community. And what I try to explain to you, myself and, Miss Pierce, we try to explain to you guys how to, just being 10 years old, your persuasive essays that you write, how you can make a difference. And Amit has started, and I'm sure how many of you guys have heard of My Name, My Story? Okay? So this is talking about people that persevere, and we've talked about this word, about, when things get rough, and we've actually read in our reading units, we've read about when things are difficult, and how people overcome and turn difficulties or negatives into positives. And today he's going to come in and speak to you about those things. He led our current, we had our book drive, which was very successful. And those are things, like making differences through positive actions, through positive interaction. And also, right now, the way that he can relate to you guys is that, he was once a child. And the things that he is doing are helping him and are helping others to find community, to find a place, to find maybe where they belong. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Amit Dodani.
Thank you, Ms. Salas. I appreciate that. You guys like in 5th grade? You like it?
Yes.
You like being on top of the world? Yes. You like the castles and everything? Yeah. You guys are in Mrs. Salas and Mrs. Pierce's class, right?
Yes.
Okay. But really what I'm here to talk to you about today is moving forward, how you can really find yourself going into middle school. Do you guys know what that means? When I say find yourself, raise your hand if you think you know what it means. Yeah.
Kind of like figure out what you want to do and kind of like who you want to be friends with and basically how to maintain your life.
Absolutely, that's a perfect answer. And that's really what it is. It breaks down into, going into middle school, and you need to find, one, your passion. You need to find who you're going to associate with yourself with, what you want to do moving forward. And as, what are you guys, 10, 11 years old? 10 years old?
Yeah.
You can really make a significant impact, whatever age you are. In fact, I'm really only 4 years older than you guys. Really not that much at all. So if you put it into that perspective, you guys really have a lot of potential to do numerous different things. Do you guys know where you go to middle school?
Yeah.
Yeah? How many of you go to Chaminade? Wow. Awesome. And the rest of you can call out some names of schools,
I don't know the exact name of it, but for now, me and my dad, we call it Porter Ranch.
Okay.
It's near where I live, and I bet it's a really good middle school, and I'm going there.
Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
De La Salle.
De La Salle. All right. Well, we can go through all the middle schools and stuff, but any middle school you go to, there's going to be 3 separate areas where you need to basically find yourself. 1 academically, 2 socially, and 3 personally. That makes sense to everyone?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So academically, obviously everything's a little notch above, right? I mean, you go from having, how many, like 3 homework assignments a day to having 6, because you take 6 different classes. You go from having tests every maybe 2 weeks to huge tests in 3 different classes every week and a half. It just keeps on getting bigger and bigger. So how do you balance your time properly? Are any of you athletes here? All of you are athletes here, a majority of you. That's awesome. Whether you're an athlete in drama, a performer, robotics, anything like that, you need to figure out how to balance your time academically. That moves on to the second point of socially. Like you were saying, what's her name in the back?
Courtney.
Courtney? Courtney was saying in the back about how you're going to pick who you're going to be friends with, right? And who you associate with really defines who you are when you go into middle school and you go into high school. Because, the people that you surround yourself with basically going to influence you in a numerous different amount of ways, correct? Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
And then lastly, it's personally, right? When you go into middle school, you need to basically find who you are in everything that you do. So, I mean, whether it is that you want to go on the path of becoming an athlete, right? Who wants to be a professional athlete or dreams of being a professional athlete, right? A lot of people do, and I encourage you to pursue that. But when you're in middle school, that's the building time to finding out what your dream is, right? That's the building point to go into high school and go into college knowing that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, right? And I know it's hard to think about now, but you all want to be adults, right? At the end of the day, you really want to. Some of you don't. That's awesome. I wish I was like that when I was your age. I want to grow up. But the time that you have now, even if you do not want to be an adult, is so important to embrace the time that you have now and use that for the future. So now I'm going to move on to why you find yourself, right? The one part about finding yourself is building a strength barrier, right? You know, you guys have had talks about drugs and alcohol and stuff like that, right? In the school, and everyone knows it's out there, right? And one thing it is about finding who you are personally is being able to make decisions in middle school and in high school based on what you know and standing to your own moral ground. Does that make sense? Standing to what you believe in, okay? And when you find your stuff, you automatically develop that strength barrier because you're going to go through tough times, you know? There's a lot of tough things that go on in the world, whether it be personally, with your family, with your friends, things that happen in the entire world that affects world events. But at the end of the day, it's building that strength barrier that's going to help you to not only succeed for yourself, but my second point is it's going to help you succeed with others, right? How many of you have ever done any social work in the community? Any community service, right? What have you done?
I help dogs out and I give them like blankets and money to help them survive in difficulties.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What about you?
I do a lot of stuff with my church. I used to food package stuff all around the world.
Okay. Okay. What about you?
I go to milks and fishes and I give out blankets and food to them.
That's awesome. Now, all of these things are something that can really be played into, you know, the whole idea of finding yourself. Because in order to help others, you need to be confident in who you are, right? The most successful people who are changing the world, right? You know who Steve Jobs is?
Yes.
He invented Apple. He is really, you know, he passed away unfortunately, but the reason why he succeeded in so many ways and was able to eventually help other people because of his work was because he found who he was and developed on that strength. You guys know Bill Gates,
Yes.
right? Bill Gates actually dropped out of college, okay, because of the fact that he wanted to pursue something that no one else thought he could. You know, he started in his garage, but that dream developed into something huge, and now the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, is something that has actually expanded ginormously in the field of community service. You know, they've donated all their money to, I think it was 3/4 of their money to actual community service ventures. That's on a larger scale. But when you start now and you find who you are, for the athletes in the room, if you end up becoming a professional athlete, then you have a ton of money and time to spare helping out other kids. You guys see, any of you NBA fans? You guys watch NBA Cares, where they go out and they help in the community? You know, they do that in football, they do it in anything. Whether it be a performer, you know, you see artists, Justin Bieber, One Direction, they all go out and they help out in the community, right? They go and really branch out and use their talents to help others. You had a question?
Actually, I just wanted to say that Bill Gates actually only had a month to create Windows.
What does that mean?
Well, Windows was originally vaporware, so he just said it that he was going to make Windows, and he just had 1 month to stay up late and make it.
You're right. And that's the whole idea of it, right? I mean, putting your passion and time into doing one thing that's really going to make you successful. Right? Now let's move on to my second point. Now we talked about finding yourself, but how exactly do you do this? Does anybody have any ideas?
Talk about your feelings.
Okay, to who?
Friends or a psychiatrist.
You can go to a psychiatrist, but okay. Yeah.
Figure out what your passions are and what you want to do.
There you go, alright. No. Yeah?
Talk to your friends.
Okay, okay. Anything else?
A parent to trust. A parent and trust.
There you go. You three nailed it right perfectly. And you. You know, you talked first. Talk to your friends, right? You guys have your best friends? You guys, can all of you say you have one best friend at least?
Yeah.
Some friends anywhere? Oh, that's great. And you know, for me personally, You know, you always have tough times. I mean, you guys can all say that even as 10-year-olds, you've had hard times, right?
Yes.
You know, you've had struggles and things you have to go through. And, you know, sometimes it is that best friend that needs to be there for you, you know? For example, for me, I was in camp at Boston, and, you know, it was 1 a.m. Over there, and I was really, really exhausted. I was going through some serious anxiety. You guys know what anxiety is?
Yes.
Right? I was really, really exhausted. I had my camp counselors accusing me for things that I really didn't do. I had pressure from my friends. I hadn't seen them in like a month. I was mentally just really, really bombarded with a ton of different things. And I didn't know what to do. I just started crying, right? So I called my friend, my best friend, and she talked to me. And I was like, listen, I don't know what I'm supposed to do right now. I'm sitting here, lying down, crying, while my roommate's in the other room just like, what's wrong with Amit? And I don't know what to do. And at that point, it was that friend who was the one who really was able to push me over the edge into having, you know, being able to go out of that slump. And after that, I've been fine. Everything that person told me still sticks with me today. All she told me was, you can do this. You're great. You're confident. No one can stop you. You ever have one of those moments? When a teacher, a friend, someone you don't even know came up to you and was like, you're really good. You're a really good athlete. You're a really good singer. You're a really funny guy. You know? You ever have those moments that almost define you, that really push you over the edge? So friends, right? That's the first step. Okay? And what did you say? Was it you?
Find your passion.
Find your passion. I'll get to that last one. You said
A
teacher.
parent you trust.
A parent?
You trust.
A parent you trust. Exactly. Now, parents are always the most, I think, underrated part of your life, right? You think right now you guys are at that stage where you don't really want to talk to them. You kind of want to get away from them. Really? Not there yet?
Amazing, kind of.
Some of you are, some of you aren't. Either way. As time goes on and you really are involved in a bunch of different things, obviously your parents are only going to become more and more essential in your life, right? And both of your parents, or whoever is your guardian, basically will help you in so many different ways, finding yourself. Why? Because they're the ones who know you the best, right? How many of you say your parents are the ones who know you the best, right? And I think a majority of you. And that being said, when you have that parent to talk to, you know, it's hard talking to your parents about everything, sometimes. You know, some people have really good relationships, other people don't. But as you grow up, you need to build that communication with your parents and your family, whether it be an older sibling, you know? And in that sense, you need to develop that trust, right? And what that trust will do is when you have a tough situation and maybe your friend's not there. You know, that happens, right? Friends aren't always there, right?
Yeah.
But your parents are always going to be there, you know? And that's the beauty of it. You know, that's the family spirit that is cultivated in a home. Okay? And the last one, what's your name?
Faith.
Faith said. It's a nice name. Faith said, passion. And that's the key. What's a passion?